camera is the most important part in any scene. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use the camera, the settings of the camera, and how to use a simple trick to make incredible camera movement. Before I show you any of the camera settings, there are some hotkeys that you should understand. Control Alt and numpad 0 make it so that the camera goes to your view, so whatever you see, the camera will see. And numpad 0 makes it so that you can see the camera's perspective. To get to the camera settings, select the camera and then go to the camera icon. Firstly, there's type. This can be either perspective, orthographic, or panoramic. Perspective is pretty normal and it's what we would see normally. Orthographic, on the other hand, shows no depth and no 3D. And panoramic allows you to distort the image so that it can be more of a fisheye. You can change the type of distortion from the panoramic by going to the drop-down box under type and then changing whichever one you want. But fisheye equals solid is the most used one. Also in panoramic, you can change the FOV, so you can change it to something like 360 and the camera will see the entire scene, including what's behind it. The next setting, you can kind of think of the size of the camera. You can change it from millimeters or field of view, which is a degree. With millimeters, around 20 to 25 is what we would normally see and what kind of looks normal. Anything below that kind of gets distorted on the edges and also makes more of the scene visible, while anything higher than that has less distortion on the edges but shows less part of it. If you work with field of view, this will be around 70 to 90 degrees. The next setting is Shift X and Shift Y. Shift X just distorts it on the X-axis, so left and right, while Y distorts it on the up and down axis. Next you have clip start and clip end, which is basically the distance of which objects start to get cut off. For example, if you have the end at 10 meters, everything past 10 meters won't be seen on the camera. And if you have something like clip start at 1, then everything 1 meter and below closer to the camera will not be shown. The next notable setting is background images, which basically just makes a reference image that only the camera can see and that doesn't show up on the render. To do this, just click on the tick next to the background images, put in your background, whether it be a reference image or just a nice background, and then you should be able to see it if there's nothing blocking the way of the camera. The setting right under it is viewport display. This basically just changes how the camera looks in the viewport. The first one is size, which when you increase it, the camera looks bigger in the viewport. And next you have the different elements of the camera. For example, the limits, the missed pass, sensor, and the name. By enabling these, you get a visual reference of how each thing works and what they do. For example, with the missed pass, you see a slight orange line showing its start and the end. To see the camera and its name, all you have to do is go into the camera view, and then you could see in the bottom left the name, and then you could see a slight sensor outline in the camera view. The next setting is parte pass out, which basically when you go into the camera view blocks out everything that the camera can't see. When it's set to 1, everything is completely black. When it's set to 0, nothing is blocked out. The last notable setting is depth of field, which basically blurs out everything that you set at a certain distance or blurs out everything that isn't an object. For example, if you set the focus object to something in the foreground, everything in the background will be blurred out. But if you set the focus object to something in the background, then it'll blur out everything in the foreground. That's basically it for the camera settings. Now I want to show you a simple empty setup that can make some incredible camera movement. Firstly, make it empty, then set it to the camera's position. You can make it not the camera's position, but when you add in a constraint, it will set it to where the camera will be. Then add in a copy location constraint to the camera and set the target to the empty that you just created. Next, add in another empty, then add in a track 2 constraint onto the camera and set the focus object to the new empty you made. Then place that new empty to where you want the camera to be looking. And to get some incredible camera movement, all you have to do is animate the 2 empties. Animate the first empty on where you want the camera to be, and then animate the second empty to where you want the camera to look at. This can be really effective and is a lot easier than just rotating the camera normally, as it gets you to more precise locations. If you want to learn more about animation, check out my 2 videos on that. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.